here. Today I want to talk to you about 10 items that could potentially be like multi-purpose pieces of gear. Hikers are always trying to lighten their load. You know, when you're carrying everything on your back, every ounce matters. So by having some of these items be multi-purpose, you can save weight. And then also there might be uses for these items that maybe you haven't thought of. So let's go ahead and cover 10 that either I used or I saw my fellow thru hikers use during my Appalachian Trail thru hike. And they are: number 1, using socks as gloves. So a lot of folks tote a pair of gloves when it's cold, especially at the beginning of a thru hike on the AT. But I decided, you know, I've got extra pairs of socks anyway, and gloves aren't essential. They just, you know, help keep your hands warm. So I decided that I would use my extra pair of socks as gloves. Now, when it's cold, you're probably going to be wearing the longer socks, and those actually work pretty nicely because you can put your puffy coat over them, and you can still hold your trekking poles and all that, but even if you have just, you know, an ankle length pair, they work just fine too. Number 2, using a pot as a water scoop. So I actually never thought about this. There were several times where I struggled to get water out of a water source because it was flowing so shallow. So I'd like use a leaf, you know, to kind of create a little chute for the water to flow off of, so that I could collect it in my bladder or in my dirty water bottle. But using a pot could actually be very helpful. And the thing is, you're going to boil whatever meal you have in here, most likely anyway, boil your water, so you don't have to worry about dirty water making you sick because it touched your pot. Number 3, duct tape. So instead of toting a whole roll of duct tape, which I've actually seen somebody do before, they learned real quick not to do that, but you can actually take duct tape and roll on itself. I think I took like 6 feet with me out on trail and just, like I said, rolled it onto itself. Also, people put it around their trekking poles, like the top of their trekking poles. But duct tape can be used for many, many things. Repairs, of course, and then also blister control. So if you start feeling a hot spot on your foot, you can put duct tape to help, you know, ease the friction on your foot, or even after you've gotten the blister. It's not the best thing, but definitely in a pinch. An example of something that I repaired with duct tape is my pack cover. So this is for when it rains, and I got a little hole in it from rubbing up on a rock, and you can see that I repaired it there. And I also repaired my pot cozy. This is Reflectix tape that I made it with, if y'all have seen my video on how to make one of these. But again, in a pinch, if it needs to be repaired, then you can definitely do it with duct tape. So this has some duct tape on it also. Number 4, using your puffy or clothes bag or some extra source of cushion as a pillow. Most hikers figure this out, but you know, some people are real set on carrying camp pillows. So you might want to try this out before you tote the extra weight, because you're going to have something like this anyway. And even in the summertime, I kept my puffy just in case it got a little chilly, and then to use as a pillow. So rain gear could also be used as that. It might be a little more swishy or loud, but just something to think about. Number 5, trekking poles. So of course you can use them for their normal use, but there are also some tents that are designed to use trekking poles instead of tent poles, so you can help save weight in that way. Also, they've got these little pole contraptions that can connect to trekking poles to use for a tripod, and that's actually something that I was kind of researching a little bit, but this may or may not be a sneak peek at some of the gear that I'm going to be using on the PCT. Number 6, your phone. Because not only is it a phone, it's also an iPod or a flashlight, a map if you're using the GUTHIKE app, a camera, and an encyclopedia if you're arguing over some trivial bit of information with one of your hiker buddies, right? My phone is actually the way that I do all of my videos so far. On the PCT, hopefully you'll notice that it'll be a little bit better because I have upgraded to the iPhone 7. And the way I get my videos back home is through the Dropbox app. I know I've had a lot of y'all ask that, so just squeezing that bit of information in there. But yes, so your phone can be used in a lot of wonderful ways. Number 7, a bandana. You really cannot find a more versatile piece of gear probably, because you can use this as a splint when you're injured, you can use it as a snot rag, you can use it as a pee rag, you can use it to dry water up out of your tent, to filter sediment through if something happens with your filter and you're gonna boil your water but you want to get the big junk out of it. You can use it to bathe or clean your food pot. It can be used to cover your greasy hair, or like on the AT, I used mine to cover my sunburn on my leg. You can use it as a signal flag, you can use it as a trail marker or a hot pad when picking up your pot. Just all sorts of things, and I'm sure that y'all can come up with even more. But definitely you want to have at least one bandana, but I would recommend probably carrying, you know, 2, maybe even 3, depending on how often you use one. Number 8, dental floss. So on the trail, hygiene is important. Hopefully, you know, y'all are still flossing, because, I mean, the only teeth that you need to worry about flossing is the ones that you want to keep. You can floss while you're out there, and then also if you need to stitch something up, regular thread dry rots easily and breaks easily, but if you stitch something with floss, chances are you're not gonna have to worry about it. I repaired a pair of frog togs with floss and didn't have, you know, any issues with that spot whatsoever. And it would work great on a pack if you needed to, you know, just get by until you could get to town. So definitely recommend taking dental floss. And just as a side note, if you're wondering where you should keep a needle, which could also be multi-purpose, where I kept my needle, if you roll your duct tape on itself like this and don't put it around your trekking pole, you can slide a needle in the fold there and it'll stay. Number 9, smart water bottle. So you can use these, of course, drink the water out of them, and then to put drink mixes in, so like Gatorade, or if you use a vitamin mineral green like I do and you don't want to put it in your bladder that's, you know, hard to wash out and you don't want to replace it, these you can replace every town if you wanted to. But also, if you use a Sawyer filter or the Platypus Gravity Works like I do, then you can use these smart water bottles instead of the syringes that come with like the Sawyer Squeeze to back flush your filter, because you will need to back flush your filter. So you would just put this little cap here on the end and woo! And finally, number 10, paper books. A lot of hikers like to read, but my friend Chance says not only are these for entertainment, but also inspiration, kindling, and toilet paper. Anyway, I hope y'all found that helpful, and if you have any other suggestions of multi-purpose gear items that you might have with you while backpacking, please feel free to comment those below so that other people can learn from your experience. And I just wanted to say a special thank you to all of my patrons on Patreon. It won't be long before I'm starting the Pacific Crest Trail, and honestly, I probably couldn't have made that happen this year without y'all. So I will be doing some live streams while I'm on trail for the patrons. They will be available later on, you know, after it's all over, but it will be a private link for the patrons so that y'all can interact and ask questions. It'll be like a live Q&A, and then for the rest of everybody else on YouTube, those will be available probably a couple weeks after the live streams happen. I don't know how much in advance I'll be able to let you know that I'm doing it, but I will give you as much notice as possible. It'll just depend on Wi-Fi quality in each town that I stop in. So anyway, if you want to find out more about Patreon, then that link for my Patreon is in the show more below. And again, I hope this was helpful, guys, and we will see y'all next time. Okay, so I am here at Amicalola State Park, and there's this nice little compartment overhead, so that's the opening, where you can put like a headlamp. Yeah.